with all the big calls on all the big races. Welcome back. It's another edition of What a Shout, the Racing Post flagship feature weekend show, brought to you by our sponsors, Bet365. Yes, Dave Orton, thrilled to be back in the seat. Somewhere in the capital, we film on Friday, looking ahead at the biggest and best races coming your way this weekend. It is the last weekend in February. Who's getting ready now? Of course, we'll have some Cheltenham chat. I think it's the last chance, guys, isn't it, for something to throw their hat into the ring for one of the big races. We'll be finding out exactly what that might be and bringing you a stellar guest as usual. Don't forget, this is a like, comment, subscribe and share show, all right? You can do that by getting involved on YouTube, of course. Anything on Twitter, hashtag What a Shout. Right, what have we got coming up for you? Before we go into all that, let's have a look down the panel. I'm thrilled to say we finally got him back on a What a Shout. He doesn't like to leave Essex much these days, but Graeme Rodway was with us.
Good to be back, Dave.
Looking well presented as well.
Yeah, I made a little trip down to the Turkish barbers, one of my favourite places to go. You can have a nice hot towel. They do good service down there,
They must have to have a rest after you go in, mustn't they?
Well, I don't go very often. Did you ever read Tom Siegel's column where he said that one of the worst experiences of his life is having to go to the hairdressers every 6 to 8 weeks?
Yeah, well, lockdown was perfect for Tom, wasn't it?
Yeah, he didn't have to have his hair cut. But can you imagine Tom with like 3 or 4 months worth of hair?
Well, it's better. It's good to have the racing's number one tipster in. Racing Post number one tipster. I mean, whether that's 100 or 1,000, I don't know. Maybe Pat Cooney can answer that, who joins us from our sponsors. This is 3 weeks in a row, Pat, and we're what a pleasure it is to have you here.
Yeah, well, pleasure to be here. I don't seem to spend as much time in the barbers as G-Rod does these days, but yeah, good to be here, and another stellar weekend, isn't it?
Whoever it is, he deserves a raise. All right, okay, let's see exactly what we've got coming up on the show for you, but before we do that, a reminder, this is a great time to get involved with a members club at the Racing Post. Why? Because you get 50% off, that's right, your first 3 months. Just stay ahead of the field by doing this. If you're not a member, why on earth not, G-Rod, right? I mean, look, you get the digital edition at 9 p.m. It's usually double that $19.98 per month. You're in there, I assume, all the replays and stuff like that, all your harebrained schemes come out in this?
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're harebrained, but that's a good one there today.
Right.
Yeah, about the fate of the Irish and how poorly they've done this season and what that means for the Cheltenham Festival in just a couple of weeks' time. So don't miss that.
I must admit, I caught that, and it's not actually surprising that happens. It happens more than we think. We just seem to be. There was that year, wasn't there? I think it was in the pandemic, wasn't it? Where they just, even Henry de Bromwich came over and won a group race on the flat at Sandown this summer. It was mad.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that.
Lismore.
We've got used to the Irish dominating, but they tend to dominate all the big races in the spring, not necessarily before the spring, and that is something that's been made a big thing of this year, isn't it?
You're suggesting they're coming over to have a cider?
Well, Energumene, obviously well beaten. Fakir Duderi is well beaten. They've had a lot of hot favourites run well below form, and a few people were saying, is that a bit of a worry going forward to Cheltenham? But the statistics suggest that maybe not.
Well, they started the season with a bang, Pat, didn't they? Because they dominated all that October meeting, and then it has gone quiet ever since. But we know what's going to happen up the famous hill come March. And I imagine all these special markets at Bet365 are getting on. I mean, is it the Prestbury Cup or whatever it's called?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we might have fallen into the trap of saying, we've painted the fences white now, that'll confuse the Irish. And it may have done first time around, but I can't believe the likes of Willie Mullins isn't going to paint some of his fences white on the gallops at home, is he? So I think you can give some of these horses a pass for it, and they normally get it right, these fellas, don't they?
Oh, it's coming up, isn't it? And if you're not involved in the members club, go and do so. Those that are have been seeing a lovely, stable sort of preview tour going on. We're going over to Ruby Walsh and Patrick Mullins, and you reminded me there. He goes, "We've painted Energumene stable white now," so it can't be used as an excuse. Let's not get G-Rod on that. That'll wind him up. Here is what we've got coming up today then. Without further ado, we will be going down to Ogmore-on-Sea in Glamorgan. Yes, you've been waiting for him. He's coming out of the wilderness. Christian Williams joins us on the line. Cannot wait. It's another big weekend on a famous day last year for the Williams stable. We'll be doing 5 big race previews, including the Eider. What a race that is up at Newcastle before those all-important weekend naps. Right then, well, without further ado, let's go down to Ogmore-on-Sea in Glamorgan. Yes, you wondered where he'd been. Last year it was like the Christian Williams show, never mind What a Shout. But it was this day, 12 months ago, you will remember, that the Williams stable lit up a Saturday at Kempton and Newcastle as well. So the spring air has obviously been coming out of that seaside, Christian, and it's all coming good again.
No, it's good to be back. So had a bit of a plan. It'd be great to win the 2 races again this season. Won't be easy, but I think we put ourselves in a good position, so we're going to give it a good go.
Once again, playing it with a straight bat, isn't he? He's got some very interesting horses running this weekend as well. Our old favourite, absolutely. We will get to him, who has been smashed off the boards. Pat Cooney will tell us in a second. But it's fair to say that this season hasn't gone to plan. Oh, well, I say it hasn't gone to plan. Christian will probably be telling me this was the masterpiece of all time, and it's about to come good. But we spent some time together last summer, Christian, me and you. Beautiful day at Windsor Racecourse. You had a couple of runners on the flat, and you were telling me you spent a lot of time at the sales, and we, plans for these horses, some nice stores and all that sort of stuff. Bit of France. You got one running tomorrow, of course, at Newcastle, who cost a pretty penny. Then we had the big blow, didn't we? Potters was retired, and of course Wing by Wings as well, who would have been, I think, the stable star. It's fair to say. And Saturday winners have been a little thin on the ground.
Yeah, no, they're obviously not easy. we were just lucky last year. We had a few horses, fall into place at the right time of year, and made it look like it was easy to win those type of races. But we fully appreciated it's not, and the way the handicap system set up in this country, then with our good horses finishing the season so strong, they were obviously going to struggle at the start, the first half of the season, which is proven. And obviously losing Potter's Corner, Win My Wing, String to Your Bow, it was going to be hard to replace those horses. And plenty of youngsters coming through, but you know yourself, the majority of them don't end up where you want them to be. But Captain or Kitty's Light, they would have started off in lower grades when they were younger. So you always keep your fingers crossed that out of those youngsters, two or three will put their hands up and then step into those weekend races. And the captain or 10-year-old now. Kitty's Light's a bit younger, so hopefully we'll have youngsters coming through to fill in.
I call him the old favourite, of course, because he's like, you remember, he's just a 7-8-year-old, and he's ridiculous. He's an absolute freak, this boy. But it wasn't the only. I'm teasing Christian a little bit, Pat. There was a Saturday winner at Warwick, of course.
Yes, he's got some decent horses apart from the main two, hasn't he? And if I could ask Christian, I've got 2 horses of yours, Christian, in my tracker. If I could ask you about, on behalf of the viewers, Pylon, the ex-Philip Hobbs horse, and this was second in the Martin Pipe 2 years ago off 138, and he was a good second for you off a 125 last time. I'm interested in his progress. And the other one I like is Lord Snooty, who stepped up in trip dramatically to show improved form, and he's just had the 4 runs for you. So is he sort of the next Kitty's Light Captain or looking to the future?
Yeah, no, most definitely. And you see Captain Ord running career best at 10-year-old. Win My Wings did freakish performances last year at 10. So as long as the Lord Snoopy owners buy into what we try and do, and it's not all about this season. Lord Snoopy wants a little bit of cut in the ground, so it's obviously proven difficult this year to back up his run since New Year's Eve. But there's a nice 50 grand race, Midlands National Day, Utoxeter, which will hopefully suit. Hopefully the ground will be nice there. And these next years, Lord Snooty looks like could be an Eider Chase type horse, could be a Midlands National horse, could be those type races. So hope we won't we won't be chasing winners. We won't be going to smaller tracks with him to try and nick as many winners as we can this season, and make sure we get to that's not really what like you said before, with Captain Ord's Kitty's Light, we could take them to Carlisle's, Ludlow's, and probably win 3 or 4 races with them every year. We try and go into the season with a plan. We try and win big races with them. So that's the Lord Snooty route. So you'd be gearing up towards next year. Jumps fences very well, and like the Pylon, it's hard taking him from those good trainers. He's probably up against it a little bit, but there's a nice veterans race in Newbury next week, which might suit them. And he's obviously qualified now for the Stayers Series final at Eider as well. Qualified at Doncaster, so there's 2 nice options for him.
At the end of every line, there is a silver lining, isn't there, with this chap? And Graeme, in all seriousness, there are 2 points that you think of there, and I'm sure the viewers will be doing it as well. The prize money situation currently, in jumps racing in particular, Christian's right. I mean, it looks like he's not been having the winners, but generally, I don't know, if you're an owner and you want your bills paid for and you want to get a few quid out of it,
Yeah.
you've got to go for the big ones rather than having a bottle of champagne on a Ludlow 4 times and winning, a season and winning just £2 a pop. It's there to see, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it depends what you like, doesn't it? Some owners like going to Ludlow and winning small races, don't they? But yeah, I think that most of us would like to win the big ones, wouldn't we? So it would be good.
They never had a winner at a bigger track.
And this is not a Ludlow bash, by the way. It's the Shropshire track's an absolutely beautiful place to go. A couple of horses that we want to talk about, of course. It was this day last season, wasn't it, where he became we're teasing a little bit, but it was the forecast king, because of course we were all screaming home Kitty's light in this studio, weren't we, on the live show that we do, and then Captain Orr comes and does him, and then 25 minutes apart, Wing My Wing, she was odds on before the home term on the exchanges, and stuff like that. Remarkable performance.
Yeah, it was quite something, wasn't it? And the same in the Scottish Grand National as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a great day. I always remember it because I remember Christian being interviewed by ITV, and he seemed more interested in whether Wales were going to beat England at the rugby than his 2 winners that he's had.
Well, let's find out where he's going to be tomorrow, because of course, we're going through the card at Newcastle, right, Chris? I mean, we're going through it. But of course, I remember last year, you had a certain hospitality from a certain sponsor in a box. It's fair to say, with the likes of Paul Keeley and those buffoons around you, you had a bit of a celebration at Kempton.
No, I've probably got to Kempton. I'm getting a little bit of pressure in the yard tomorrow. We've got plenty of staff going to Newcastle. Jack and Ellis are up there as well. So we'll try and get 2 or 3 hours work done in the yard in the morning and head off to Kempton. And Captain Orr's been such a wonderful horse. I think in the last 365 days he's won £175,000 in prize money, and he's never won off a mark of 130 or above. He's only not a lowly rated horse, but he's only, he's a 125, 127, just in below 130 and winning such good prize money. And obviously, with such a good prize on tomorrow, we'd love to go on to Kempton with Kitty, because the prize money, double the prize money than there is up in the Eider. But obviously, Frodon kept him out of the way. So Captain Orr's in such great form. Jack knows him well, and he rode him 2 days ago and said that we probably need to run him this weekend. He's in good order. He loves the track at Kempton, loves the ground, and it was his day last year, so it'd be great if he could retain the trophy. Yeah, and the penalty is an interesting thing, Pat. Let's concentrate on the big runner tomorrow at Kempton. Then this, of course, comes up at 3 o'clock. We will be previewing this for you singularly later in the show. Interesting jockey booking again, because Robert James, of course, Christian snapped up the Crack Irish Amateur to ride Win My Wings, and here we have.
Yeah, we've got CM Quirk. Now, Christian had Rob James last year, who was well known in the Irish point-to-point circle as well, so, and no secret, really. CM Quirk claiming 5, Christian, that seems to be a bit of a random booking. Can you tell us a bit more about him?
we thought he'd be a clever claiming 7, but when I rang Weatherby yesterday morning, I think he's ridden 20 winners. We can claim 7 in Ireland up to 25 winners. But there's a different rule in this country, which I didn't realise. It's 19 winners and lose your 7. He's only claiming 5. But, I did a bit of research there. We planned all along for Ellis to go to Newcastle to ride Ponto Foley. We weren't sure whether Captain Orr was going to run this Saturday. But when we committed to the race, and we did a bit of homework and spoke to Ruby Walsh and a few other people, and Pat Doyle, good point-to-point trainer in Ireland, has Boyd ridden for before, and like you said, did a bit of homework and decided to book him.
You would not play poker with this bloke, would you? I mean, he's literally monotone all the way. Let me tell you, viewers, this does go up like a heart monitor every now and then, this Welsh monotone Tom Jones voice, let me tell you. All right, let's go through them then, the runners tomorrow. That's Kempton. We know he won the race last year. He's still got a chance of a penalty. How many pounds do you want to claim? You know what I mean? Oh, crying about £2 that he's lost. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It shows you exactly the precision that goes into these things. Let's go up then for the 253 then. It's a maiden hurdle. And it's fair to say it didn't go to the plan at Hereford for C. Elegant, who is a horse that you paid a lot for at Arcana, November 2021. But his French form is interesting. He finished ahead of a horse called, and you'll know exactly where I'm going with this. He's finished ahead of a horse called Traprain Law, who is now with Raymond Anderson Green. Won 2 of his last 3 for Lucinda Russell. This isn't a handicap prospect necessarily. This is a horse that's capable of winning a novice, right?
Yeah, this horse is a good galloper, and he'd want a bit of cut in the ground, and he gallops on well. So he probably went further in time, but he's a bit unlucky at Hereford. Hopefully that was just a freakish thing that happened at Hereford, and fingers crossed he can put that behind him. But I think we found a nice race at Newcastle, good galloping track, and hopefully it'll show goes nicely at home. So hopefully show people what he can do.
All right, that's the first leg of the four-timer up there. And then we go to the 325, which is the Eider. And you're on successive wins in that. Win by Wings. I mean, she was tying up at the end, Christian, but I can't remember a horse travelling through that race like that. Can you, G-Rod? I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. It was one of the easiest winners I've ever seen, alongside String to Your Bow, of course, who Christian's already mentioned was also probably one of the two easiest winners that I saw last season. We're both trained by this fella.
And broken clocks and all that. You actually tipped that String to My Bow, which is the biggest surprise of everything. But you have given a good word for Kitties, haven't you? But he's right on Monster Gamble now, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Kitty's got absolutely huge chance, hasn't he? He's so well handicapped, but God, he's a short price, isn't he?
What do we make of that, Christian? And what do you make of the ground for him? I saw in the paper you spoke to James Bourne, our Lambourne correspondent, and he basically said we don't want a bog. It can't be that bad up there in the current climate, can it?
No, I just worry a bit that she's under pressure about what happened on Thursday. I think there's more non-runners than runners there, so hope she's not going to spoil our fun and put as much water on it as they can. But Kitty's light, he's a good moving horse, flat pedigree, so we wouldn't want it too soft. But we thought the race might suit him, and we're looking forward to running him. And he's got races down the line as well. He's a Scottish national, and then obviously at 365 two nice options after the Eider chase. So hopefully his season's only just gearing up.
Christian, going back to his third to Hewick in the Bet365 Gold Cup, that was off a 145. It must be like Christmas Day seeing him off a marker 132 now, mustn't it?
Yeah, I think the horse deserves to win a race, and I think his last winning mark was 135 at Hexham or Kelso, and Jack was claiming 3 then. So it just goes to show how hard it is to win the big races. But he's in a position now to. We think he's in a position now to go and win a big race, and we obviously spoiled the fun with him last year with Captain Ord beating him at Kempton and Win My Wings beating him at Upper Air. But those horses deserve to win running those races as well. And at the back end of the season, those big money, the big prize money races is sometimes you've got more than one horse in the yard that deserves to run in them, owned by different owners. So, but yeah, like you said, hopefully he's well handicapped, and hopefully everything come together. You need plenty of luck in those races. I know the mare Win My Wings travelled well in it last year and looked like she won well, but she didn't go back into winners enclosure last year because she was exhausted after the race, and she only won by 2 lengths. But it shows how hard it is to win, even those Eider chases. They're tough races.
Honestly, no horse deserves to win. I mean, he hasn't won for 2 years, but he's obviously handicapped to do it, and he has been wackoed in the anti-post market. How many of you are on it? Get your comments in below. Let's go then, as the dust settles on that, Christian, hopefully you're taking the prize home for successive seasons, because you've got 2 Mile 4, a horse that hasn't quite shown it so far. Everyone's been waiting for 5-star Getaway to bounce back. You're putting the pieces on tomorrow.
Yeah, we do. We put the cheek pieces on and off. We were wondering with Kitty's Light as well, whether he travelled very well in the Bet365 last year with them on. But I'd be disappointed if Kitty's Light needed them. Yeah, tomorrow, Saturday at 4 Mile 2 at Newcastle, big galloping track and 14 runners. So Kitty's Light would probably have them back on Scottish National or Bet365. But we just thought we put him on 5-star. Maybe they'll help him. I think he had an excuse in the Beecher chase. He just didn't quite take to the fences and lost his position. Had a good position early and lost his position then at halfway, and then came home really well. So I don't think he was quite right at Kempton. So he could start. He's well handicapped. He's a good classy horse at home. Always works very well.
Yeah.
I'd be disappointed if he wasn't a little bit better than his rating. I know he's 9-year-old now, but he is a classy horse. He'd be a big, strong, chasing type, and he looks the part. Everyone who comes into the yard asks which horse he is. He looks a nice type of horse.
Yeah, we've got him on a marker 127, the handicapper. We've got him a racing post rating 137, and Carl Hinchy and the boys up there will have a great day, I'm sure, with him. And again, very well fancied horse. Now, the one that we're all curious about in the studio is Tonto Foley, who you made reference to, Ellis Collier, who goes up. Ellis has got 1 in 9 strike rate, which for conditionals pretty good, obviously. You obviously think a lot of him as well, works hard in the yard. Now, this chap, hang on a minute, if you go back and look at his point form, he's got no right in running off this sort of mark. It's fair to say it hasn't gone his way so far in handicap hurdles. I mean, look, come on, this is a royal flush, this, isn't it? This is the time to break a smile here. I'm kind of looking down because I can see you in my corner as well. I mean, this could be absolutely chucked in. He was going to nearly beat a horse called Deep Cave of Henry de Bromhead in his point before he capitulated. That's a 140 horse over in Ireland. Come on, this is the one, isn't it?
We need to get the replay for that race because he wasn't going to nearly beat that.
What do you mean he wasn't going to nearly beat it? Are you suggesting the guy that did the comments in running is having a wind-up?
He'd have probably pulled up for the second last or the last, but that's not saying that. I'm just saying he wouldn't have nearly beat Deep Cave.
All right, okay. So he's trying to ensure a price with you here, Pat. This is the game that they play, right? So he's running over 2 miles. He didn't get home in the points point, but he had the ability to lead Deep Cave. Get it right, Dave Orton, he's saying, basically, until the second last. This is not a bad animal, this, is it?
No, he goes nicely at home, but you just worry with them horses when they get rated in the 70s. It could be in a bit of trouble with them, but he was a bit keen in his first two races, was never settling, so hopefully he'll settle now in a handicap when they go a little bit quicker. But he could be he could need a fence in front of him to help him relax. But we look forward to running him tomorrow. He's obviously got no weight, but Ellis claiming eight pound of him. He rides him out every day at home, so owned by good owners there. They used to own a good horse, but strictly a dancer. Had a little setback last year. Hopefully we'll see him next year. But no, we're obviously looking forward to seeing him tomorrow.
All right, okay. He's rated 77, this horse. All right, okay. We've had a bit of fun, haven't we? And we've kept you on the line plenty long enough, Christian. I know you've got no runners on Friday, but it's always a pleasure to have you here, and hopefully that's a little bit like a fly on the wall for you viewers out there as well. We wish you all the best tomorrow, all right? If it all goes to plan, just when the dust is settling on the Cheltenham week, we'll be looking at Midlands National Day, right?
Yeah, we put Kitty's Light in the Midlands National because just in case the Eider went very soft, but the Eider's been a plan all along, and he's got an option there of the Midlands National, great prize money. But like I said, hopefully Lord Snooty will go there, and we look forward to that. Brilliant, Christian. Always a pleasure. All the best to you and the team for this weekend and beyond. Thank you very much. Right then, the time you've been waiting for. Let's get into the Saturday races. This is always a good card, this, Pat, isn't it? Very popular where race goes, G-Rod, isn't it? The sun starts to come out, get a little bit warmer, lighter days, later finishes, later starts, and all that sort of stuff. And we kick off with the Adonis, which has, over the years, thrown up Zarkanda, for example. He's probably the last one, wasn't he, I imagine? But, Henderson usually runs something in it. Paul Nicholls has got a good record in it as well. Can anything put their hand up for the Triumph Hurdle?
Maybe more a Boodles type, perhaps. But you've got a favourite here, Scriptwriter, who is around about 7 of 4. Maybe should have won last time out against Comfort Zone. Maybe the tactics went a bit awry over the last hurdle. But he has got the penalty to carry. And I think on balance, what you see is what you get with him. He wouldn't appeal to me as a bet. Comfort Zone is trained by Joseph O'Brien, who sends one over, Nusret in the race as well, which brings the Lossy-mouth, collateral Irish form. I don't know, I thought it was an intriguing race. I keep coming back to Power Fury, number 8 on the race card, unraced over hurdles. Ex-William Haggis filly, sold for 100 grand, won 2 races. Why is Nikki Henderson starting her off in a grade 2? She hasn't got an entry in the Triumph, so there's no rush. I just think, wow, there she is on 10-7, getting 7 from most of them and getting 12 from Scriptwriter. We were 12, laid the 12, went 10 and then 8. So I think people might just take a chance saying, well, hang on, it's a Nikki Henderson horse. In a grade 2 on its debut, that wouldn't happen too often. It must be significant to me. So that might be worth a random stab in the dark for me.
Yeah, of course, in the Oppenheimer colours, and for William and bred to be very good. It's not bad races, is it? Spartan Army at the start of the season, gloss has come off him a little bit, but you love the ground. The Churchill lad has got some interesting form. Obviously, Nusret, classy on the flat, and brings this key Irish collateral form. We've got Rare Middleton, who runs for the Jews and the Whateleys. He looked good He looked like he won with a lot in hand. Perseus Way's well regarded. And he got Sarson's Risk for Ben Brookhouse, who's really going to make a name for himself, I think.
Oh yeah, it's a great race. We're all in trouble if Nosret wins this race because he's been absolutely thrashed by Lossymouth and Blood Destiny on his last 2 starts, and those 2 horses are the first 2 in the market for the Triumph Hurdle. So if Nosret comes out and beats a lot of these, you're going to be saying, well, the Triumph Hurdle is going over to Ireland, which it probably will do anyway.
He looks like he wants a bit further to my eye, and Kempton around it. It's an interesting spot for him, isn't it, I think?
I'd strongly fancy Scriptwriter to beat him. I think Scriptwriter's a better horse than Nosret.
Yeah, I think the horse that beat him at Cheltenham is a definite player in the Triumph.
Yeah, he's well fancied, isn't he? And it was a good time at Cheltenham as well, solid time.
Yeah.
And he won the race last year, didn't he? Milton Harris with Night Salute.
Your favourite horse.
Yeah, very tough and genuine horse. Scriptwriter, similar sort of horse, not quite as exposed. I think he'll be difficult to beat. Yeah, I thought Sarson's Risk was quite interesting.
Rare Middleton's is a very interesting horse
Rare
as well.
Middleton.
So yeah, there's still a chance to jump out.
Paul Nicholls obviously won this 5 times, hasn't he? With similar sorts of horses to Rare Middleton, lightly raised coming. But I think Scriptwriter will win.
Yeah, I like Scriptwriter as well, despite the penalty. I think he'll just get over the line. Fascinating race. Let's go to the Pendil then, another record which Paul Nicholls has farmed over the years, 225. Boot Hill, John Bond form here, met defeat last time, and a lot of people were expecting him to. But he's up and trip here.
Yeah, he is up and trip. If you like your official ratings, then he's got £9 and beyond in hand of his rivals. Brings a good level of form to the table. Has got a penalty. And is he a 2 miler or is he a 2 mile 4.5er?
Yeah.
I think the form book might suggest he's probably a 2 miler, but then you spend your career chasing John Bond, etc. Maybe they're trying to see if he's a 2. He's not in the Turners over 2 miles 5. So you've got the penalty and the trip as reasons to oppose him, I think. So I will oppose him. You've got Solo, who's going to make the run-in. He became Triumph Hurdle favourite when he won the Adonis at the same meeting 3 years ago. So he's going to be bowling along. It's going to be a good run race. I think That's All Right Gino brings a good level of form to the table. A good second to a very good horse, Stage Star. I like more about him at his price than Boot Hill at his 6 to 4-ish prices.
If That's All Right Gino goes and wins this, they're surely going to run Stage Star in the Turners, aren't they? Which is, Mighty Potter dominates the betting there, but he didn't. I mean, he won that handicap very easily at Cheltenham, and he's an interesting horse for my money. I think Nicholls just got a whiff of change about the way that Nicholls is going into this Cheltenham Festival, and I keep doing these previews, and Stage Star keeps ticking all the right boxes. Whether you think he's let you down a couple of times, so he's a Grade 1 winner over fences. Boot Hill I can't have. I thought Solo would maybe nick this. Tweed Skirt's the worry, I think, if you're on Solo, because she's a bit keen and she can get on with it as well.
Yeah, it's a very tight race between Solo, That's All Right Gino and Boot Hill. I just thought Boot Hill had more upside to him. He's still lightly raced in comparison to some of the other horses, and he's probably got the best form in the race when he beat Orcam Risk at the course. Obviously that horse came out and won the Betfair.
Very likeable horse, Boot Hill, isn't it? He's just, I don't really see.
My only worry with him is he's going up in trip, and sometimes he can be a bit keen. He has to be sort of ridden from off the pace. Could be a tactical little race.
You know that Solo, like Pat says, is going to try and get just that and stretch them. This is a race historically. When you watch back the replays of it, they tend to kick at that fourth last fence. It's a bit more testing than it looks.
Yeah, if he gets an easy, he's dangerous. But Boot Hill should be too good for him. But I could see any result between That's All Right Gino, Solo, and Boot Hill. I'm not strong on any of them.
All right, well, we've got a cracking race coming up at 3 o'clock before we go to Newcastle for another one in the Eider. And we've heard from Christian Williams, of course, Captain Ord, last year's winner, 1-2 for the stable, wasn't it? Under a penalty now with the Crack Irish conditional coming over. Is he going to go off, Fav?
Yeah, I think Captain Ord has momentum behind him, and particularly we were querying the jockey book, and this is going to be a fresh name for a lot of people, CM Quirk claiming 5. But as Christian said, he asked Ruby Walsh about him. Now, this is a jockey claiming 5, recommended by Ruby Walsh, so not a negative at all. He has overtaken Ansam, who was a good course and distance winner at the head of the market. Wide open race, lots of front runners, of course. Froden, Bob Hope, No Hope, Killer Kane likes to bowl along. You'd imagine Bryony and Froden would go on at some point. I think in terms of best handicapped horse in the race, I'll give you Captain Ord, of course. St Calvados off 154. He won a Grade 2 at Sandown in 2022. It's Harry Cobden for the injured.
About jockey bookings, yeah, exactly.
David Maxwell is injured for his sins, but there's no doubt Harry Cobden is a massive upgrade on David Maxwell. And to me, I know he's a 10-year-old, I know you have to be a bit tolerant of some of his form. I think off 154 with Harry Cobden aboard, classy animal, ground's fine, I could make a good case out for him. So I'm a St Calvados from on his best form, he'll be bang there chance.
150 grand to the winner in this, worth more than quite a few
Yep.
Cheltenham races. And you can see why the likes of Christian are targeting this. A lot of horses will have had this as their FA Cup final. And Sam, of course, loves the gaff
Yep.
and won so well last time. Kitty's like trailing in third. Smarty Wilds, who's a good horse running on in the rearview mirror. It's whether he can reproduce that without getting a lead, G. Last year's third Hour Power. Clondalk Castle, who was Mr. Kempton, and ran a very good race on his return. He would have had this in mind. He's on my radar. We've got Frodon in here as well. We've got Phlegmatic, who continues to threaten to come back to form. Course winner. We've got Killer Kane, Killer Clown, he loves it. Bobber, Hope or No Hope, 22 to 1. He's got better hope than that, I can tell you. And Rillo in there. Jackamar and Black Jerry as well. This is a handicap that we should be celebrating.
Yeah, it's a really good race. Yeah, great race. It's probably finally shedding its tag as the old Racing Post Chase, isn't it now?
Never.
Anyway, a great race. It's almost gone for a revival since it was taken over by Coral new sponsors. Put a lot of money into it, and I like Jackamar. Milton Harris again. He obviously had he's got scriptwriter going earlier in the day. This horse is really well handicapped on his best form, which of course came at this course when he won the novice handicap chase on the card last season on Boxing Day when he beat Mr. Coffee quite easily. Your Darling was third.
You could beat Mr. Coffee. I mean, he don't fancy winning, does
No,
he?
he don't fancy winning, that's true. But it's still a good race, usually, that race. He's lost his form entirely and then come back to form last time out at Leicester when he was quite easy to back, I thought, in the market near the off. Almost as though he was he wasn't expected to win, and then he won quite tidily. He was running off the same mark that day as the day when he won at Kempton. I think he's gone up £5 in the weights. And I think the race will suit him well. He's going up to 3 miles from 2.5. They go nice, strong pace. This is the sort of horse that wins these races around Kempton. Sharp, 3 miles, 2.5 mile horses that are stepping up, might improve for a step up in trip. I like Jackamar. I like Phlegmatic's got a big chance. Killer Kane's got a big chance.
What will they do with Frodon? That's what everyone's probably thinking we should say. King George winner. Badger Beers on his return. You know what they're going to do. He'll love the ground. What is he currently?
He's around about 9 to 1 at the moment, and he's off the marker 161. He has been higher in his time. He's a popular horse. I don't think he'll be double figures, but this is a top grade handicap, and he will get competition for the lead early on, won't he? So
All right, okay. Right, let's go to Newcastle. We've heard from Christian. He's going through the card with his runners up there. In all seriousness, some serious chances, and this looks like a bit of an FA Cup final then for the well handicapped Kitties. We've heard all about him. He dominates the market. Anything else hot?
Well, with Kitties, I mean, I can't believe he was third in the Bet 365 off of 145. The winner, Hewick, has won a Galway Plate and an American National since. He was an honourable third, and he's now £13 lower. So whatever you fancy, he's well worth a saver. I like the idea of In Rem, number 12, at Jane Williams. This horse looks like 4 miles, 1 and a bit would be ideal for him. Form on good ground, probably better with rain. So I'm a bit like you. I've got the old Wellingtons on.
Yeah.
And I think he's the type of horse. He's there on 10 stone 8. I'm starting at the bottom, working up, thinking what will appreciate the lightweight and the trip. And I think In Rem might be a sporting one. He doesn't do anything quickly, but he doesn't have to really. So I'd be inclined to be backing him at a double figure price each way.
You suggested in your weekender piece at the start of the week, Kitties are an absolute bet. The price has gone, right?
Yeah, sadly, since I put it up at 6 to 1, he's now come down to 3 to 1. So he's half the price that he was when I fancied him earlier in the week. And he's very, very short, but he is fantastically well handicapped. Obviously got a massive chance of winning.
Okay, but you're not going to tip him?
No, I'm against him because purely price dictates. I just can't be backing him at such a short price in such a competitive race. There's a couple of horses who catch my eye. Number one is one that Pat tipped last time out. Houston, Texas.
Was it a successful tip?
No.
Or was that when because he won his last 3 and Pat won it on the bandwagon?
Yeah, it was a defeat, but there were excuses for him.
Those are poker references today, aren't there, I think? Give us the case there. Nicky Richards won this race for, of course.
Yeah, there was a sneaky little bit of money around for him before the off, and they jumped him off in last, and he finished the race very, very weakly. However, I just wonder how wound up he was for that contest, knowing that the Eider was coming up next.
Yeah.
I just almost looked like a sighter to me, and I think that he'll be in a lot better shape here. He's got loads of good form.
You actually really like this horse, don't you?
Yeah, he's got really good form.
Yeah.
He's won 3 of his 7 chase starts, and he likes soft ground, so the more rain, the better for him. I think he'll definitely improve for a step up in trip. We talk about Christian Williams obviously being the man with the plan. He won't be the only trainer here who will have had the Eider as a plan, and I think that Nicky Richards would certainly have had this race in mind for Houston, Texas. I think he'll run really well, and he's my main bet. I've also backed Young Bull each way, another very lightly raced horse. He's still a maiden over fences, but he ran quite a nice race last time out. Haydock looks like he's going to improve significantly for a step up in trip, and he's a huge price. So they're my 2 against Kitty's, because Kitty's just making the market there for a better horses at bigger prices. Houston, Texas, and Young Bull.
Ridden by 2 very good jockeys as well, Sean Quinn and Danny McMenamin, who's having a really good time of it this year. I like one in here. I'm going to get this out of the way. I thought that Sam's Adventure was interesting, having come back to form at Catterick last time. And he's still £10 lower than when he won it. It's just he can be a bit quirky. I could see him going well, see the market's found him. Kitties, come on. Of course I'm going to be screaming Kitties, and I haven't backed him because of the price and all that sort of stuff. I wasn't sure if he was going to go to Kempton or come here. Anyway, let's hope the ground's right for him. I'm sure he'll hit the frame for you out there. But Bushy Park is the interesting one. He was a winning machine on heavy ground when they got him into handicap hurdles. He kept dominating from the front. Philip Kirby, he lost his way over fences, but he slowly come back to form. He also won at Catterick last time out, beating a pretty good yardstick over 3 miles 6. Christian said he's hoping that the course don't put on too much water because of the non-runner gate that they had a couple of weeks ago. I'm hoping they chuck it on. Because if this bloke gets a soft surface, they will not see which way he goes down the home straight, I don't think. We're nearly going to nap in this race, me and you, so one of us is going to have to win that argument. You can find out after this segment. Final big race preview for you on another Sterling Saturday then. Kempton's big day in the sun this jump season remaining. And we've got the Dovecote, which over the years, G, before we go to Pat from Market Update, has lost a little bit of the gloss, hasn't it? You see some really good Supreme horses running here.
Yeah, you did. It was a good way to go into the Supreme, coming off of running here, wasn't it? And a lot of horses used to run so close to the festival, but it's just a change in the way that trainers train their horses now. They bring them in off longer layoffs, and obviously all the best horses are in Ireland anyway. And this race has, slightly lost its way, has it not? But it has been won by some very good horses, hasn't it?
Yeah, oh no, absolutely. Yes, indeed it has. And let's go to Pat then, because there's a hot pot in here for Gary Moore. You've got something that ran out of the Betfair hurdle, Rubbo, who's got that Christmas Kempton form. You Can Tango's interesting. John Joe's got one in there. Mullenberg, very good mare on her day. And despite the fact he said he had nothing quick enough for the Dovecote, he couldn't resist it, could he? Chris Gordon, who's on a hat-trick in the race with just 3 runners, because Cafe Legend takes them along with Postmark, who was very impressive at Newbury, albeit at a lower level last weekend.
Yeah, and the market has been dominated by Gary Moore's horse, Hansard, who ex-Charles O'Brien in Ireland, but has looked the part, it must be said, in his 2 runs so far for the new team. Short enough, maybe on official ratings, he's level with Rubart, and of course Rubart he ran in the Betfair. That didn't work out for him. He's got a first-time hood today. He's be seen in a better light. You Can Tango is one that I was intrigued. He's only rated £1 lower on official ratings than Hansard. Now, he pulled up last time out. If you put that down to the soft ground and pretend it didn't happen, his form overall, apart from that, does look very solid. But I get it. Hansard is the one to beat. You're going to have to pay 5 to 4 to find out, though. So I like everything about Hansard apart from his price. And I'd rather be a You Can Tango at his 5.5 to 1-ish.
I wouldn't be surprised if You Can Tango bounce back on that decent ground. Rubbo's the one I can't have. I just think they're sticking on a hood now, and it looks like they're just running him while he's still a novice, basically. Just trying. Look, he just didn't fire in the Betfair. It might be that he can dominate here, but he'll have company up front. Who do you like?
I'm with the favourite. Yeah, I think Hansard's a very good horse. I thought he was very good when he beat Mr. Chewy or Master Chewy at Plumpton. He was giving him weight, wasn't he? And he absolutely bolted up that day. And I just think he looks absolutely different class to this lot, and he's going to improve again. It's the sort of thing that Gary Moore does, isn't it? I remember a few years ago, Gary Moore, they interviewed him, and they said, well, you're going to be going to Cheltenham with this horse. And he said, no, my Cheltenham's Sandown. I prefer to have a winner at Sandown. Well, Kempton's sort of only down the road, isn't it?
It's not a race you often associate him with, but he did have Shall We Have One More, the ill-fated Shall We Have One More second when gambled on in the race last year. So got a bit of business with it, isn't it?
The point being that Gary Moore could have run this at Cheltenham, but he'd rather win this race, and he probably will.
For the Norfolk Healy Racing Syndicate, who's having an absolutely wonderful season, I make him the winner as well. There are your big race previews this Saturday. OK, Weekend winner search time, it's the nap section. Who's the most important tip for the panel on this sterling Saturday? I'm going to break ranks, do a Pat Cooney. I'm going to go to Lingfield. Yes, we've got the Winter Derby there, 205, as the dust settles on that. I think Diderot will take out the handicap that follows for the winning owners group. Daniel Muscat, riding as well as anyone during the winter. James Ferguson, solid second on his comeback at Southwell, primed around the bend at Lingfield to win. Graeme Rodway.
I'm with Hansard in the 340 at Kempton. I think he'll just win.
Nice and simple from the bear. And Pat Cooney.
Chepstow 307, Operation Manor, trained by Tom Lacey. And I like these horses that have already shown a decent level of form and look like they can be even better over a step up in trip. And this fella entirely fits the bill. He's had the 5 runs, 3 wins, a second and a third, but his run last time suggested wait till he goes up in trip. Yeah. Tom Lacey, a very shrewd trainer, knows the time of day, and this fella is moving up in trip, so I expect him to improve again on what's already a decent level of form. Hot little race though, I think there's 15 runners, but he's there number 14, I rate him better than that.
And good to see that we've done our research, me and you, Pat, because we've supported the away cards, unlike some who's just gone for a tip.
Mine win though.
Well, I think we're going through the card, like Christian Williams. There are your naps. Well, sadly, that is all we've got time for on this weekend's What a Shout. Wasn't it a pleasure to get back into the mind of Christian Williams? He's a good, fun guy, but obviously he's got a new way of looking at these prize money races and a lot to like about him, and we wish him all the best. He's a very helpful chap. Pat, lovely to have you down again this weekend.
Yeah, happy to be here. I'll be on my way to Kelso this time next week. We sponsor at Kelso the Moor Battle Hurdle.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a hot little race as well, so a bit of Scottish hospitality for me next week.
I said it was the last chance to throw your hat in for Cheltenham, but of course that's the bonus race, isn't it?
Yeah, you get if you win the Moor Battle and go on to win the Cheltenham Festival, any race at the Cheltenham Festival, you get an extra £100,000. And if you're a cynic says, oh, it won't happen, well, it happened 2 years ago with the shunter, Emmett Mullins, who's got a runner in this Moor Battle as well.
Step forward, McTeague. Can't wait for that. G-Rod, great to have you.
Good to be back. Can't wait for the weekend's racing. Should be great. And
you going anywhere?
I'm going to West Ham tomorrow. They've got
a
big game at home against Nottingham Forest.
You're a bit of a glutton for punishment, aren't you?
Yeah, well, it's going to be a relegation battle, that one.
Up the Forest. Okay, all right. It's been a thrill to have you with us as well. Dave Orton signing off then. Last chance then for something to step forward for maybe the Supreme, maybe the Ballymore, maybe even the Triumph. But there is next weekend to come. Don't forget to join us for that. Don't forget to get your comments in below. We love to read them. Like and subscribe. Put your thumbs up. That's what it's all about. We've got loads of offers for you as well, not just the members club. Who's seen this free bets offer this weekend? Let's have a look at this. There you go. Ooh, you were told first here on What a Shouts. And of course, don't forget, download the free Racing Post app. You can do that free. Of course, it's on the Google Play Store or the App Store itself. There's Rosie Margerson. This is a great advert. The more I watch this, the more I think it must have been done by someone not in our gallery.
Why aren't you in it?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't asked. I think I'm, sort of doing everything really. I don't know. Would you listen to me and on there? I don't know. We've got lots of talent here at the Racing Post, as you're seeing. Would you believe it? They're all employees. Every race, every day, anytime, anywhere. Download the free new Racing Post app. Stay ahead of the field. There you go. Every weekend we tell you to do that. That app has just got better. What old app, everyone's saying. All right, loads of sport out there this weekend. Like and subscribe. Enjoy it.